was caught buying a vibrator, who was pregnant and she got cheated on. In that case, voluntary sexual intercourse between a man and a woman who are not married. Hi, welcome back to Law Unfiltered. Today is our third episode. We are doing something really interesting, juicy, a lot of confusing things because every relationship is confusing, I suppose. And today, I'm not doing it alone as usual. I'm doing it with my friend here, Megan Chu from Chang Chui and Go. Hi. Thank you to do this with me. Happy to be here. Thank you. Okay, so marital disputes, divorce law is always so depressing, emotional, a lot of heartbroken feelings and all that. So today we are going to talk about what's your rights when it comes to divorce.
Okay.
What should you do? How can you prove certain things when it comes to maybe, for example, adultery, so forth, right? And before we kickstart with each and every details when it comes to divorce law, we have a story for y'all today.
So boy meets girl, fall in love like every rom-com you have seen. Boy is successful. He has a company and several assets. Girl here has an asset and is a stewardess. But married, she stopped working, built a family, and has 3 kids. While fairy tales sometimes expire, the boy cheats on the wife with another woman. Even though the wife has been a pillar of the household, caregiver and homemaker, cared for the kids and clean and all that. Now, the girl wants to file for a divorce.
So girl, we are gonna be girl here today, okay? And since our husband cheated on us, we're gonna ask for 300,000 spousal maintenance, ownership of the matrimonial home, 50% shares of immovable and movable property accrued during the marriage, full custody of the children, 500,000 child maintenance, damages for adultery, and then 40% shares from the house acquired prior to the marriage. I think this is fair and reasonable if we are being a better woman.
So we have to look at the circumstances of the case?
Yes, now we have to look at each circumstances of the case. And to be honest, most of the cases that happens in real life is mostly like that, adultery, one spousal maintenance, of course. You want the husband to be paying for the maintenance for the child as well. So, okay, now, adultery. Okay. It is really crucial here to understand what is the legal definition of adultery in the first place.
Yep.
So I need to read this out because it's quite comprehensive. Voluntary sexual intercourse between a man and a woman who are not married to each other, but at least one party is married. See, when you want to prove that there is adulterous relationship between your husband and the mistress, there must be voluntary sexual intercourse.
Yeah.
But these are such private, intimate activity. Of course, nobody is going to be there to be taking a video, right? So it is so hard to prove that there is adultery sometimes because there is no direct evidence to show that there is adultery. In fact, court has said over and over again, you can use indirect or circumstantial evidence to show that it is irrebuttable proof that you are in a sexual relationship adulterous relationship with this person.
Yeah.
For example, in this one case, remember the IVF guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that case, 74 years old husband cheated on the 72 years old wife.
Yes.
With a 48 years old mistress. And the circumstantial evidence that was provided in this case here is emails.
Correct. So there were a couple of things that were going on with that case. So apart from emails, the husband was basically being egged on by the mistress, basically leave his wife. That was one. And then they also had some properties which they were basically living in together at some instances. So the court took that as a sign to say that, those are opportunities for them to actually have sex with intercourse.
Yeah.
And then they were also, apart from the living situation and the emails, there was also the fact that the wife, the mistress mistress was actually talking to the husband about IVF treatment.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then she was alleging in that case as well, actually I have another Italian boyfriend or something like that, and I'm actually going to have this IVF treatment with him instead of the husband. But then the court also found out that, no, if you really were going to talk about your IVF treatments, you would actually be doing it with the boyfriend instead of this random guy.
Yeah.
So these are the type of circumstances which the courts can take into account and say that, okay, this is irrefutable evidence that, that you are actually having an adultery with this man, and there's a sexual relationship involved. So situation so then the courts can then take it into account and then award some of damages to the wife.
Yeah, correct. And I think also another thing that the court look into is this guy is actually really rich.
Yes.
He has like gold bars, gold coins, stocks, bond. He's not a poor guy. And they went on a holiday. Apparently they stayed in the same room. And then the husband said that he wanted to save money. So he wanted to only book one room. And then the judge said, doesn't make sense because you are obviously a guy with sufficient financial means.
Right.
There is no economically logical sense to actually choose to book one room only.
Yeah.
So that is one part on how you can actually prove like there is an adulterous relationship.
Right.
Another case where it was really, really interesting, where the court was actually posed with a question. Buying vibrator, does it amount to adultery relationship?
Okay.
This guy was caught buying a vibrator.
Yeah.
Has the wife went crazy.
Yeah.
Said like, you were cheating on me. But you're not using it on me. I suppose. I have no idea, but they were arguing and this case went up to the high court.
Yeah.
And the judge was like, okay, he bought the vibrator, yes. But you cannot prove that he used it on anybody.
Yeah, because in that case, so similarly, the court again took into account the circumstances of his case, right? So one of the things that the court looked at was what the wife presented as evidence against the co-respondent of the case, right? So the court looked at the fact that she made some police reports and they found that to be quite unilateral because police reports, right?
Yeah.
You don't really have anybody who come and question you about police reports.
Technically, we just tell the police what happened and then we
Correct.
just let him key in the whole thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then that's one. And then there was the fact that she gave oral evidence and the fact that there were existing WhatsApp chats. So they were saying that these WhatsApp chats was actually proof that, the husband and the correspondent actually had intimate relationship with each other. So, but then again, she didn't actually produce those WhatsApp chats to the court. So, and then she then fell back again onto the fact that the husband actually purchased the vibrator. And so the court said, unless you actually have irrefutable proof that he actually used this on her, then yes, there may be some form of adultery there, but because you can tell who actually bought this for, then it's going to be a problem. And plus, he was also giving evidence to say that actually he bought it for his friend. And eventually, even though that friend was never,
never produced the product.
No, he didn't come because he had work or something like that.
And the court refused to actually postpone the case for him anymore because his evidence was not really important at that point. There's no evidence at all to suggest in any manner, in fact, that there is an adulterous relationship, or in fact that the vibrator was used on the mistress.
Yes.
In this case, it is not so much as direct evidence, but mostly like bits of evidence that does not even put up that story.
Yep.
So in our case, in the event that we do prove that there is, like for example, WhatsApp messages to show that they are intimate, like also for another case, in fact, the court has taken into account that these two, the husband and the mistress, indeed had adulterous relationship because one, they were cohabitant. And then the investigator, the wife actually hired an investigator to go and check and take photo. They went in and out of the condominium at the same place, same time. And then after that, they were caught in a few restaurants together, being very intimate in the clothes, And then the judge saw all of this evidence and said that, clearly you guys are being intimate, you guys have a relationship together. So yes, there is an adulterous relationship. Let's just say we did all this, investigated on our husband.
Yeah.
and we found that he really has an adulterous relationship with some lady, then yes, it is proven that there is an adulterous relationship.
Yeah.
Which then comes to the second part of it, that we want to claim for how much again? 300,000, right?
Yeah.
300,000 bucks of
Damages.
Damages,
Yeah,
yes.
so these damages actually is not supposed to be, so there's a couple of things as to these damages, right? So number one, it's not supposed to be punitive.
Correct.
That means you cannot actually punish this person to get
Yeah.
damages. And it's not the exemplary. So these damages is actually up to the top to
So much to just to compensate our emotions. Because
Correct.
you see, under the Law Reform Marriage and Divorce Act, which is where divorce law is usually governed under Section 54, you must prove that your relationship, the marriage itself, has broken down because of one of the reasons is adultery.
Yes, yeah. So that is the first part of
Yeah.
that section. But the second part is also you have to prove to the court that
Intolerable,
it was intolerable. You cannot be able to say that, look, my husband cheated on me 10 years ago, and then at the same time you didn't take any action about it. So there's gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
But if let's say we were talking about IVF guys case, right? So in that case where their relationship spanned over I think 4 decades, right? Yeah, around 4 decades.
The marriage was 4 decades.
decades.
Together they were 5. Yeah.
Alright. So even then also, the court then put into account, oh, look, this mistress was, very, very, she wasn't really accepting, she was badly behaved for the whole thing, and the court found her actions basically very, very repugnant.
Yeah.
They didn't act, she was basically like the trigger point lah. So even to say that the court still determined, okay, at the end of the day, because of all your behaviors and all these things and how you acted on divorce, you did not appreciate the sanctity of marriage and all these things. So what we are going to do is we're going to make sure that you pay damages for 200,000. And because you drag on this whole legal proceedings, there's
Plus
another
50,000 legal fees.
So even then, you see, it's over 4 decades and it's still
only
250,000.
So it's simply just to consider her emotion, because see, when court is granting compensation for adultery relationship, there are actually several factors that the court will be taking into account.
Yeah.
And like for example, the emotional and psychological turmoil that you went through, the loss of custodian, damage to your reputation, accountability, all this on and on again.
Even the economic impact that it has on you, this will also be
like, for example, if you need to go for a therapist now because of these things that happen, then yes, the court will take into account of this. Like, for example, there is another case. The husband and wife was married less than a year, and she was pregnant. And at that time, her husband cheated on her with another mistress. He didn't actually deny it; he admitted to it. And it was because of the adulterous relationship which was proven and which has led to the breakdown of the marriage. And because of that, the court actually granted her 70,000 ringgit of compensation for what was done to her during her pregnancy. So you see, courts really do take into account several factors. It's really such a
trying to achieve some sort of balance,
correct,
basically, between the co-respondent, the wife,
and I think in our case, we can ask. If you never ask, you never know. We can plead in our petition that we want to
try to get these.
But at
the end of the day, it's always subjective.
It's subjective. And even this, right? I think it's so important that, let's just say, if we are filing the petition to divorce our husband or to file a judicial separation. Really what is important is, I think for me, I would have actually filed an interim application, get my husband. Obviously, I'm not going to be seeing my husband anymore. I'm so angry, right? And I have not been working since I was stewardess, and I'm basically relying on my husband. So what I would ultimately do is ask for an interim spousal maintenance to be given until the hearing of the petition itself. If not, I have no money.
If in this situation, yes, when you have, solely dependent on your husband to do maintenance, not just for you, because I believe in this case, she also had kids,
3 children,
so she can also ask for interim maintenance to be given for the kids as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, we should do that first and then that. Yeah. So even when during the interim spousal maintenance, at the end of the day, you still can ask for spousal maintenance to be considered during the hearing itself. Now moving on to the third part where we want to claim more spousal maintenance. So under the Section 78 of the Law Reform Marriage and Divorce Act, we can claim for spousal maintenance when we can satisfy the means and needs test. Yeah. And the means and needs test is it's not very defined under the law itself. Yeah. So over the years, the court has given like several guidelines on how you can claim for spousal maintenance. Things to be considered when it comes to this situation is, for example, earning capacity from each party, financial needs and obligation of each party as well. What is the standard of living enjoyed by the family before the marriage has broken down? What is the age of the husband and wife, duration of the marriage, health, physical or mental disability if there is any between the husband and wife, respective contributions towards the welfare of the family during the marriage. So these are all the things that has to be considered when court wants to give spousal maintenance. Yeah. For example, like in the other case, the IVF guy case, IVF guy, yes. So the marriage has lasted for like 40 plus years. Yeah, 40 over years. Yeah, and it is undeniable that the wife has been contributing to the family. You see, we have to understand that the law has considered and admits that the wife can provide non-monetary means to the family. Yeah. So these are the things that we have to consider. And clearly she was not working because she has to take care of the family, right? So all this taken into account, she actually asked for 1.9 million.
Yeah, around there. Yeah. So at the end of the day, after taking into consideration her age, the other party's age and all these things, and plus the considerations like you mentioned just now, right? So the court was actually thinking, instead of giving her this, normally what happens is that for spousal maintenance is given in installments. Yeah. But in this situation, it's quite unique that the court took the view that the parties, their relationship was quite bad. Really bad. So they wanted to give them a very clean break. So what they did was they decided to, okay, I will give you a lump sum. So they ordered the husband to give him a lump sum. Yeah. And even in that lump sum, the courts took into account how this husband earns and all these things. And then they decided, okay, you know what, in this situation, we're going to give you one lump sum, 1,000, I think. I can't remember. Yeah, so she lowered it down. Yeah, she lowered it down quite significantly. And then she decided that he is to pay this amount to her, and this was broken down, I think, at the amount of like 5,000 a month from the age that she was until 76, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
So basically what she did is, in her petition, she listed down each and every aspect that she wants to pay for. For example, grocery, petrol fees, car maintenance, and so on. So there is a long list of what she wanted. Yeah. And in each item, she gave an amount of how much is it per month. Yeah. So all that I think total up to 8,000 per month. Yeah. And then she asked for total claim for 240 months.
Yes.
So that's why it was 1.9 million. Yeah. But the court went through each and every list and said, okay, maybe some is too high. So we lower it down to 5,000. And so, I mean, in general, everything is 5,000. Yeah. And 240 months is too long, taking into consideration that she's already 72 years old. Correct. And the life expectancy of a woman in Malaysia, it's not that high anyways. Yeah. So the court lowered it down to 41 months and 5,000 per month. Right. That's why it's not 1.9 million.
Yeah, so it was, her initial sum, after looking back, it was about 1.92 million. It was based on about 20 years population of 8,000 million. So that was what happened to that population. But then after, taking into account the parties' needs and everything, then they decided, okay, we're going to lower it down to 205,000. So this is 5,000 a month, I think, for about 41 months.
Yeah, 41 months.
41 months.
Yeah. So you see, these are the things that the court will consider when giving spousal maintenance, because it is not supposed to let you have it for the rest of your life, but really just to a point where you can come out again and probably work on your own. In certain cases where the wife is a bit more younger, the court will give maintenance for like maybe a few years, just to the point where you can come out and work on your own again, right? Because it's not supposed to actually.
It depends lah. Again, it depends lah. Because like if let's say the individual is somebody who's quite capable, then yes, probably that she will receive like one lump sum or lesser amount in the maintenance.
Like the girl who was pregnant and she got cheated on, in that case, because the wife is capable, she has the means of earning a living on her own. And the court find that, and because it was less than a year marriage, right? So the court did not actually grant her any spousal maintenance for that case itself.
I mean, in this day and age, the courts are also considering that women are actually quite capable,
we can
taking care of themselves and earn for themselves.
Even if it's a housewife, people start doing like videos online, YouTube, blogging. That is also another means to earn money.
And those ways of earning money, at the end of the day, you still need to disclose to the court so that the courts can actually assess and take into account, okay, these are the circumstances of your case, then we can be able to make an assessment whether or not you
grant you that spouse.
Correct, to get a spousal maintenance.
Yes. But in our case here, as the wife we are, we have been in this relationship, marriage for 10 years, for example, not working anymore for 10 years, having to take care of 3 kids. I think 500,000 spousal maintenance is not very high lah.
Can consider not quite high because at the end of the day, you see as stewardess, normally they are engaged when they are younger, right? I mean engaged as in like they are hired when they're younger, right?
I thought you meant
they're hired when they're younger. But then as they grow older, especially if they're out of the industry quite long, it may be quite difficult to go back into the same industry and to make the same type of earnings again, from scratch. So maybe if you're asking about 500,000, then you have to prove the basis for it, lor. So again, you bring up the fact that you've been a caretaker of the home, you've been managing the house, his properties, and all those things all together. Plus the fact that you've been relying on him, all these things can bring up some basis for you to try to claim that honor.
Yeah, correct. So now that we've established that we definitely can get spousal maintenance, just depending on the amount, maybe the court may think that it's a bit high, And of course, we are not going to pay for extra things to buy new things and so forth.
I mean,
simply just to keep up with the standard of living,
your current
for
standard
the
of
time.
living.
Yeah. And with that done, now we are going to matrimonial assets. See, during our marriage here, we have several matrimonial assets. So, like for example, the house that we were living in before the breakdown of marriage, and then pre-marital properties will be the house that we owned before that,
and his own house,
the two cars, and then the company that he has built before that. See, now when it comes to marital matrimonial assets, the court is governed under Section 76 to actually see like how should we decide to distribute these assets. So it's not important whose title is actually in the matrimonial asset, because it is about the contributions that has been made to these assets during the marriage itself. Even like, for example, like the pre-matrimonial asset, if I have been trying to contribute to that particular house, whether it is monetary or non-monetary, I still can get a share in that. Same goes to the husband. If he had contributed to my house that I bought before the marriage, he still can get a portion of that from me. So these are the things that the court has to consider when it comes to matrimonial assets.
So matrimonial assets apart. So basically, here's the thing. A lot of cases, right, you actually see the court scrutinize the petitioners or whoever it is that's asking for the divorce when they don't actually fully disclose the assets that you have, whether either pre-marriage or, post-marriage. Right? So at the end of the day, for marital assets or properties that you have, it's best for you to just expose the reports so that they can decide whether or not these assets or properties are up
until whether it amounts to matrimonial asset itself.
Correct.
Because if it is not matrimonial asset, then the court has no jurisdiction to divide that asset. But if you don't disclose it, then the court cannot decide. And it's not up to the parties to decide whether it is a matrimonial. No, in fact, it is not your discretion to decide whether this is matrimonial asset or not. You have to put it up to the court to let them decide.
And of course, you can put your case forward and say that, he didn't contribute or whatever it is, especially if it's pre-marital assets. So in this case where the stewardess had a house already, right, and there is nowhere in the case facts that say that, the husband actually contributed or significantly contributed to the house, then probably you can be able to argue that this is actually my own asset that shall continue I post.
Correct. But the thing is, when it comes to a breakdown of a relationship, obviously both parties are unhappy with each other, right? Let's just say if the husband is being spiteful and told the lawyers, there's another asset she never disclosed to the court.
So it's gonna
just disclose
it's gonna look very, very bad.
It will look a bit ugly on your side because it seems that you don't want to give your share to the husband. Right.
It's not really your share, but it's more towards like
to decide whether
how
even
frank are you being.
Also because it seems a bit on a bad face from the party if indeed that the court thinks that, look, this one seems like we did contribute a bit. So he may get like what, a 5%, for example. 5% is still a share for the husband
to decide.
Yeah, it's still for the court to decide. So just disclose it out. Don't play dirty. Yeah. So now that in this case, the matrimonial home usually will be divided to half.
Normally if let's say the parties are older, and normally if the kids are also older, they don't really stay in the house, then probably what will happen is that the property will be sold off, and then the proceeds will be given to the parties. But again, it depends. So if in this instance, if the kids are younger, say, right, so then you cross into the threshold where how old are the kids? If the kids are like, teenagers, or are they like below the age of 7, then probably if let's say they're below the age of 7, then probably the courts can say that for this house you cannot sell off, but what are the arrangements we need for the kids and for the mom as well as
like for example here, right, because we have 3 kids. Let's just say for example, our first child is 15 years old. The second child is 10 years old. And then the last one is 7 years old. See, when kids are 8 years old and below, under Section 8 of the Guardianship Act, usually the child, the ones below 8 or below 8 years old will be given to the mother under custody. Because, even though both husband and wife has the same equal responsibility to take care of the children, but if they are 8 years old and below, usually they will go to the mother.
Normally.
If
the mom has no issues.
No issues, definitely. And in that sense, because child's interest is definitely of the highest priority for the court when it comes to divorce cases. And they will try to do their best to not disrupt the child's life, in everyday life in general. So in this case, if our child is already so young, like 7 years old, and they don't want to disrupt the child's everyday life, so what the court will actually do is give us the matrimonial home for the time being, because that is where the child is living in anyways. So we will have full exclusive possession of the home. Until maybe when the child reaches to a certain age, and then divide the shares of this matrimonial home later on. Or the court can even provide that, the wife will have full and exclusive possession of the house, and we have to pay maybe a share, 50% share.
So this again is quite tricky. So it depends again if it's during the proceedings or if it's after the proceedings. So let's say it's after. Right, so if it's after the proceedings, then normally the courts will look at this and say, okay, you know what, the kid has to stay here, if the kid is quite young, right? We don't want the kid going in and out, so the mom already is staying in the house. So the mom can continue staying in the house, and then the father has to stay outside, and then he might have access to the children. But at the same time, the home is primarily for the kids.
For the kids, for the kids. So it is really quite subjective, and it also depends on what the wife is asking for. Since now we are asking for full exclusive possession of the house because of the kids are being so young, taking into consideration of their interest. I think the court may allow us to have exclusive possession, but it depends on how are we going to work it out with our husband. Whether we are going to buy out of their shares, or we are going to let it be there until when the child reach, I think it's 18 years old, and then we divide the house. Or I think,
basically you hold the house in trust with the kids.
until
So that is also another option, right? The friendliest option is for the kids. But at the end of the day, the decision as to what happens to the matrimonial home, especially if you're in there, depends on how the mother and the children are. If they don't really need that house anymore and they have another place, then obviously they can go lah.
correct.
But at the same time, if the mom insists on staying there and that's where the kids normally are, not to disrupt their, whole schedule and all these things, then normally you will just stay there.
Correct. Because there was a case actually where the wife asked for full exclusive possession of the matrimonial home, using the same arguments that we have just said. But because the child never actually lived in the matrimonial home, in fact they were under the care of the grandparents, then that is really hard. It doesn't make sense to keep the matrimonial home when the kids actually don't stay there. It doesn't disrupt their livelihood if the house is being sold and the proceeds will be shared by husband and wife. So in that case, the court actually did grant full exclusive possession to the wife. So
they are quite unique circumstances.
It really is so case to case fact.
Because
basis,
even on our side here, like there were some instances where the court considered even something called a nesting order. So a nesting order is quite unique because then this is, in the interim of the matrimonial proceedings first. So like this, before the courts had even decided how to distribute the house, the court said, okay, because the kids are staying in this home, the mother and father are also staying in this home. But each of the parents actually had a separate home from that side. They can actually, go in and out. But the kids stay put in the house. The mother and father have to move in and out. Either to have access to the children or have custody. But then again, this one is quite subjective as well.
Because you see, like when it comes to child interest, right, the court has once again and again considered the fact that both husband and wife, father and mother, provides different roles. Yeah, correct. Different roles to play in the life of the child. You cannot just say that the husband cheated and have no access to the child at all. You cannot say that because this is for the children. So both parties must have equal access to the child.
The kids. So actually, if in this case, mom has the custody and control of the kids, then probably what happened is that the dad will get granted access.
Like maybe once or twice a week. It really depends on how both parties want to work it out. So until the end of the day, right, even if we are fighting with our husband, we still need to have discussion with our husband, preferably via solicitors.
So I think if let's say parties are quite they're
cannot talk to each other anymore,
might as well just use lawyers.
Might as well just get the lawyer to send some letters so it's not that hard. Anyways, now that we have done with the matrimonial home, okay, now the car, because the car was purchased by the husband, I don't think we are capable of giving any monetary contribution to the car anyways.
But at the same time, if you didn't give monetary contributions to the car, the same thing, then the same concept that applies again. If you use the car for transportation for the kids and all these things, then probably you may have some sort of claim, but again, it's quite, you'll have to be able to prove it.
Yeah, correct. And then the pre-matrimonial home, like I've said just now, if in any event I have contributed to that home, before or after the sorry, let me start again. And then after that, now it comes to the pre-matrimonial home that I have purchased. But if my husband has contributed to that particular property, of course, then he can get some shares out of it, whether it is monetary or non monetary. The same goes to me. If I have contributed to his property itself, then yes, we still can get something. Maybe like a 40% or 30%. Usually it will not be 50%. So, okay. Now that we have covered our matrimonial properties, and then after that, also the welfare of the child, like we have said before, it will definitely be of paramount consideration. And What else? Child maintenance.
Yeah.
So now that we've established that the child is most likely going to be with the mother, and obviously father will have access to the kids as well. Child maintenance is definitely something the husband will have to bear as well. And look, since in our circumstances now, right, obviously we have no means to provide for our kids now. Definitely the court is going to say that, okay, maybe the husband will bear child maintenance for the first few years until when we can get on our own 2 feet and earn a living. And then maybe then we will vary the court order.
But even then, that one is going to be applied by the husband.
Yeah, applied by the husband.
So if the husband doesn't apply, then you continue with the current arrangement.
Yeah, correct. Or maybe the court will say that the husband is to provide child maintenance until they attain the age of 18 years old. It is also possible for it to be like that. And how the court will assess how much we give, again, I think it would be great if we put in our petition exactly how much one child would require per month.
So in this type of situation, basically if let's say you are claiming for the maintenance for the kids, you will have to detail out what are the expenditures for the kids, what are their lifestyle, what is the schedule that they have, what are the schools they go to,
how much is the monthly school fees,
expenditures that they use, food, everything basically that you can put. Then you put all these things, you basically also can table out an entire figure, then you can be able to come to an established amount. Right? But the problem with kids is that because they get older, right? And then their schedule is also not fixed every year. Correct. Their activities are not fixed every year. So another consideration that you can give is probably, instead of a fixed amount per month, you can have it like scheduled. So probably there will be an increase every other year or so, to accommodate for the fact that the child is growing, there is different needs that they may need to consider. And in the event if the courts you allow and grant all these things, then at least you're covered in that sense, And this will be covered up until not just 18, it goes up to the extent of, let's say, the kid gets their first tertiary education.
That's possible as well. It really is, it's up to the court to decide how much, because see, courts are vested with the powers to do justice. So if it's just to provide as such, then the court will definitely give. So again, you have to ask. If you don't ask, you never get. So just write down in your petition what you want. But of course, you must consult with your solicitors first, whether such is even askable or not. If you cannot ask and then you ask, then let's not do that, right? So I think we've covered everything, from head to toe about what really is important when it comes to filing for petition in a divorce case. Of course, we understand such is really emotional, depressing things will actually happen to somebody. Especially after you have given so much for the family, for your husband, and he betray you like that. Of course, it's really unbelievable. And of course, we've tried to provide what is enough for you to actually initiate an action against your husband. Not to initiate an action, but to file a divorce. That's what I mean.
I mean, the considerations that you consider before you actually do anything.
But of course, if anything, please get a lawyer. Consult with your solicitor. They will give you even a better background or understanding of what you can actually claim based on your circumstances.
Because again, at the end of the day, each party is tailored for each
case itself. So I hope this has been enjoyable. It has been fun. And yes, I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.